Shalom. Taught Akim out there. As you see, this picture is a picture of the Chariots. And the lesson that I'm going to get into today is showing like a couple of basic scriptures of UFOs, so-called, but they are known as the Chariots in the scriptures. But as we know them today, they're UFOs under flying saucers or whatever, and that's actually in the scriptures. And I'm going to bring it out through the Spirit. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, double honor to our apostles and elders that rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect and everybody on the comment board. So basically, the chariots, the UFOs are actually in the scriptures, and that's where Esau gets bases it from. A lot of these movies that you see, and video games and TV shows and all that stuff, all that Hollywood films, a lot of it is actually based off scriptures. Like for example, when you watch an anime, the little Japanese shows, when they doing what, like Dragon Ball Z, everybody knows the Dragon Ball. When they doing those spirit bombs, they doing all those powers. That's basically the spiritual powers that the scripture speaks about. And UFOs, the chariots, is actually one of them. And I'm gonna get into it through the Spirit. So, first scripture though, I want to get into is right here, Acts. Acts 13:40. Beware therefore lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish, for I work a work in your days, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. And the work, one of the works is these chariots, man, because what I'm about to get through, and what plenty of other brothers have broken down, and plenty of other camps have broken down, that chariots is what Yahweh Shah left in and what he's coming back in, and that's the vehicle of the angels and Yahweh Shah. And he left in one and he's coming back in one, and people don't understand that that's actually in the scriptures. And even though we declare it unto them, even though we prove it, we show them in the scriptures, people still don't believe it. So, I'm gonna get into it. The first instance I want to get into is when Yahweh Shah left. I'm gonna start at verse 6. This is Acts chapter 1, verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And the point, look, another thing right here, the kingdom is only for Israel. It says it restored again unto Israel. So it's not all these other nations. There's not this kingdom. The only kingdom is only for Israel. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you. And ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and all the Judea and Samaria and the uttermost parts of the earth. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Now, when it's talk, I'm gonna break it down. Precept. When it's talking about the cloud, is it talking about the white fluffy clouds? So a cloud out of nowhere just sucked up Yahweh Shah and just disappeared? No, it's not talking about the white fluffy clouds that you see up in the sky every single day. It's not talking about that. Let me keep going. Then I'm gonna pull the precept. What the cloud is. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, and behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. Just talking about the angels. Verse 11. Which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand and gazing up unto heaven? this same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So the same is saying short term in it, the same way that he went up into the heavens, he's coming out of the heavens and he's coming back. Now the cloud just didn't beam him up and he went straight to heaven. No, he got in something and then it took him up into the heavens. So let's find out what this cloud is. Let's find out what this cloud is. So I can move these around. Let's find out what this cloud is. This is Book of Psalms 104 verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angel spirits his minister a flaming fire, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. So, yeah, it says, who maketh the clouds his chariots. So, when back in Acts, when it says, I'm reading it again, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and the cloud received them out of their sight. So, it's talking about the chariots. The chariot, he got beamed up into the chariots, and it took him to the heavens. And it said the same way that he left is the same way he's coming back. And let's find out if that's true. I'm gonna skip down. I'm gonna go to some other examples. I want to get this real quick. This is the Book of Revelation. I'm gonna start 7. Get straight to the point. Revelation 1 verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. Now, we already seen in the Book of Psalms it called he maketh the clouds his chariots. So is it talking about these white fluffy clouds that you see every day? No, he's coming with chariots, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, and all kindreds of earth shall well because of him. Even so, amen. That also goes in, that the scripture goes into regeneration, reincarnation, because also it says every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him. Now nobody's walking around the earth over 2,000 years old, so how's the people that pierced the Yahushua back then going to be seeing him coming back? Doesn't make sense unless reincarnation was in play. So he's coming with clouds, so he's coming back with clouds, and he's not coming back with the army of heaven. He's not coming back. Each angel got their own fluffy cloud, and we don't look. There's people, Christian. I don't know, man, where that doctrine come from, but that's ridiculous. That's literally ridiculous. I'm gonna get into the next scripture. I definitely hold on. So I can bear with me, because I thought I had it pulled up already, but I'm gonna get this account of Ezekiel in the first chapter when he was described. There's gonna be a lot of reading, so just bear with me. I want to find out exactly where to start at. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna start at 11. I'm just gonna start at 11. This is Ezekiel 1 and 11. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward Whether the spirit was to go, they went, and when they turned not, when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps, and went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning, and the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now, as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his four faces. The appearance of the wheels, also they're known as wheels too. And I'm gonna get the other account too in Ezekiel, the 10th chapter. The wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. So it's green. Beryl is green. Just get that real quick. I'll see. It's a green color. If you look it up on Google, yellow jasper, other yellow stones. Oh, that doesn't say up in here. Topaz beryl. If you look it up, it's a green, like yellowish, green, yellowish. That's what it just says right there. Where is I at? And then, okay, I found that. Okay, continuing on in 16, and they four had one likeness in their appearance, and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So if you was to draw a wheel out, and then you was to draw a wheel inside of that wheel, what would that look like? It will start to look as the form of the so-called UFO, but it gets more, Ezekiel gets more descriptive. Verse 17. When they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. Now he's seeing eyes. Now is he seeing literal eyes on this object? Is he seeing this blue eyes? There's green eyes, there's scarlet eyes. We got blue eyes. We got red eyes. No, it's not talking about that. It's talking about the lights that's on this object that he's seeing. Keep going. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by with them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. So he's saying wherever these creatures are moving, that's where this object that he's seeing going with it. They're like it's in sync. Verse 20. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was the spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. So now he's seeing the creature inside of the wheel. So the wheel is going wherever the spirit is going, and he's also seeing the creature inside. So there's obviously there's they're controlling it. 21. When those went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. He's saying it again. Ezekiel. You have to keep in mind how these prophets, when you read, these prophets are seeing this stuff, and they're doing their best, to write down what they're seeing, because it's new to him. So he's trying his best, using his best words to describe what he's seeing. Because obviously they don't have the terms that we have today. So they're using the best things that they had back then to describe what he's seeing. And that's why he's saying stuff over and over again to get he's saying, like, look, there's something inside. Wherever it's going, it's going. That's why it keeps repeating itself. And the likeness of the firmament upon the head of the living creature was as the color of a terrible crystal stretched forth over their heads above. Now let's find out what a firmament is. Extended surface, solid, expanse, firmament, expand, flat as base, support, firmament, a vault of the heavens supporting waters above, considered by Hebrews as solid supporting waters above. And that what I was talking about is visible arc of the sky, firmament. So a firmament is like a dome thing, a dome shaped object. And he's seeing above the creature's head. That's what he sees. 23. And under the firmament, he's saying it again, were their wings straight, the one toward the other. Every one had two, which covered on this side, and everyone had two, which covered on that side their bodies. Let's keep going. I'm gonna get it. I think I'm gonna get down to 27. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of the speech as the noise of an host. When they stood, they let down their wings. 25. And there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood and had let down their wings. And above the firmament there was that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne and the appearance of sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above it. And I saw the color of amber and the appearance of fire round about it, and round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about, and as the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of brightness round about. This was the appearance of likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake. So he's talking about the Most High. So that's Ezekiel giving an account of the so-called spaceships, so-called UFOs. I'm gonna get this one in Ezekiel 10. There's gonna be a lot of reading too. So just to recap on basically what he saw. He saw wheels inside of wheels with eye. He called them as eyes all around about it. So a wheel inside a wheel. There's creatures inside this wheel with a dome, a firmament over them, and also it had I said the eyes are all around the wheel. So what does that sound like to me? If you literally draw that out, that looks like a so-called UFO. Let me get another account of it. Ezekiel, I'm probably just going to start at. I'm going to start at 1. Yeah, I'm going to start at 1. Ezekiel 10:1. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of likeness of a throne. And that's the same sapphire stone that he described in the first chapter. Verse 2. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even on the cherub, even under the cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubims, and scatter them over the city, and went in my sight. And the cherubims is the angels. That's what it's talking about. Let me get this. An angelic being, guardians of Eden, as flanking as flanking Most High's throne, as an image from hovering over the Ark of the Covenant, as the chariot of what we know is not Jehovah Yahweh. An angelic beings, talking about the angels. Verse 3. Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court. Verse 4. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub. What the hell, bro? This man driving all on his sock. It's like, man, this dude's driving like all close to the sidewalk. Just lost. I don't know where I was. I'm going to read verse 4 again. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub and stood over the threshold of the house, and the house was filled with the cloud, and the court was full of brightness of the Lord's glory. And the sound of the cherubim's wings was heard even to the outer court, as the voice of the Almighty power when he speaketh. It's like they distracted me outside. And it came to pass that when he had commanded the man clothed with linen, saying, take fire from between the wheels, between the cherubims, then he went and stood beside the wheels. And one cherub stretched forth his hand from between the cherubims unto the fire that was between the cherubims, and took thereof, and put it into the hands of him that was clothed with linen, who took it and went out. And there appeared in the cherubims the form of a man's hands under their wings. And when I looked, behold, the four wheels by the cherubims, one wheel by one cherub, and another wheel by another cherub. And the appearance of the wheels was the color of a beryl stone. So he's green. He's seeing green wheels right now. If you look, I'm going to slide here. Just to give you guys an image of what he's seeing. See, barrel's like a green color. It's a green stone. It could be yellowish as well, but it's green. So y'all get like the picture. So he's seeing these greenish, maybe yellowish wheels right now. Verse 10. And as for the appearance, they four had one likeness, as if the wheel had been in the midst of a wheel. There it is again. And the wheel had been in the midst of a wheel. So it's a wheel inside of a wheel. When they went, they went upon their four sides. They turned not as they went, but to the place whither the head looked. They followed it. They turned not as they went. So once again, he's seeing wherever the head looked, that's where the wheels went. The chariots went. Because they don't, like, let's say for an example, planes, in order for them, let's say the plane had to make a right. The plane it goes straight, and then it has to turn, like it has to do a degree. These chariots are not doing that. They're just wherever. It's like kind of like they're almost teleport. They're just going from spot to spot, like moving like side to side, front to back, up and down, diagonal with no problem. They're just going in their directions, no matter where they went. So they're not turning. They're not doing no 90-degree angle. They're not doing none of that. No 45. They're not doing none of that. They're just moving swiftly. And their whole body and their backs and their hands and their wings and the wheels were full of eyes round about, even the wheels that that they had. So he's seeing these eyes again. So it's not talking about literal eyes. It's like the eyes. I mean the eyes, the lights. Slovakia. And as for the wheels, it was cried unto them in my hearing, O will. And every one had four faces, and the first face was the first face of the cherub, and the second face was the face of a man, and the third face the face of a lion, and the fourth face of an eagle. And that goes into him to something else. But I got to the point that I wanted. He's describing the chariots once again, and they're also known as wheels. Also, so anytime you see clouds in the scripture, or you see to talk about wheels, it's not literal. It's not literally seeing Lamborghini tires in the heavens. He's not seeing it. He's seeing the chariots. Isaiah, there's another account. Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. He shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Now, it says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. Now, is the Lord riding upon a white, fluffy cloud that you see in the sky? No. Here it is. You got the the Yahweh coming back, and he's coming back. He just hops out the heavens. He hops on the cloud, and he just slowly floats and glides the cloud and into Babylon all over the place and start destroying the place. No. It's talking about the chariots, the so-called UFOs, the so-called spaceships. – 66 verse 14. Do I want to start at 14? Yeah, I'm gonna start at 4. I'm gonna start at 13. It's Isaiah 66 and verse 13. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and you shall be comforted in Jerusalem. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish, and like an herb, and the hand of the Lord shall be known towards his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. It's the point right here, 66 and 15. Verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render anger with fury, and rebukes with flames of fire. Another thing right here. It says, Lord will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So he's coming back with his chariots to render fire to his rebukes with flames of fire. So where's the fire coming from? It's like well, we don't know what type of fire is coming out the chariots, but it's gonna be some hot heat that's coming out the chariots. It's like as you see these movies, like Star Wars and Star Trek and all those, it's like the late like laser beams basically is gonna be coming out the chariots, but 20 billion times hot. So here it is, another instance of the chariots being mentioned in the scriptures, and that's talking about the cloud. And the title of the lesson is going to be, yes, there's chariots in the scriptures, and yes, we're leaving in them. And so that's the same way that he came back, he's coming. The same way he left, he's coming back. And that's our transportation method out of here. Go right here. Isaiah 26 and verse 20. Come, my people, enter enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Now, how is a cloud? Is the white fluffy clouds going to protect you from nuclear missiles? Is those white fluffy things? Do the white fluffy clouds have chambers that we can go into, secret doors that we can just walk into and just chill up, just lay down like it's a pillow? No. Come, my people, into thy chambers. Do the clouds have chambers? No. And shut thy doors. Do these white fluffy clouds up in the sky have chambers? No. Do they have doors? No. And it says, hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, till the indignation be overpassed. So you're gonna get beamed up. If you of the elect, you're gonna get beamed up into them chariots. You're gonna shut the doors behind you, and you're gonna hide out until it's safe. Till the indignation be overpassed. Clouds, and this is another name that we know it's not talking about clouds. Getting ready to end the lesson. Actually, no, I want to get Wisdom of Solomon first, because this is how you know it's not. What was it? This is how you know it's not the clouds. This is the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Now this is talking about the prophets that's on the street, standing in great boldness in front of Esau and all these other nations that's been afflicting him. When they see it, they shall be troubled with fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. So they should be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. Now, do you think us getting on a white fluffy cloud and going back home, do you think that's strange? No. What's strange is Yahushua coming back with the angels and so-called UFOs that all these Americans and all these other people, our people too, think those are, when they see spaceships, they think, oh, aliens, oh, we're being attacked by aliens. No. It's talking about the chariots. So far beyond they look for it. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit say within themselves, this was he whom had sometimes in derision and the proverb reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot among the saints? So they're gonna be asking these the niggas, these black people, these the people that these are the chosen people of God. These the people that was yelling at the white men on the street corner, talking about they gonna get delivered in chairs. These are the men, and they're gonna be pissed off. These the ones that we've been calling niggas. These the niggas that we was hanging. These are the, Esau. They're gonna be, wow, they was telling the truth the whole time. That's how they gonna be. And it says so far for beyond they look for. So nobody's looking for. Look, we're leaving in spaceship. I know it's a film. Esau, the top Edomites, the elite, they all know what's going on. They know when they make these Hollywood movies and they put them, they putting the truth right in front of your face. It was a movie, it's a short film called All the Black People Left on Spaceships. And they know what's happening, man. But our people don't know. But in the movie, they didn't really have a distinction between all the tribes. But it was the us leaving on chariots is the point. And then we're gonna get second Esdras, and I think we're gonna close it out. Second Esdras chapter 13. Where do I want to start? I might just start at I'm just gonna start at. I'm gonna start at 3. And I beheld, and the lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all these things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth fire. Now, is Yahushua coming back? Is he coming back as a dragon just spin fire out his mouth? No, it's talking about the chariots. The so-called the laser beams, if you want to call it that, to give a better picture. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. Now, a great mountain that he flew upon it. Is that talking about a literal mountain that was he standing on Mount Everest and just gliding it through the waters? No. That's how he's describing how really a like how do I explain it? Like how big it was. It was a big chariot. The mothership, as you probably want to call it. As these people call it of the world. The mothership. And mothership is like the biggest out of all of them. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I cannot. So that's how big the chariot was. He was saying if the mountain, if he was riding on the mountain and it was moved, he would have seen where the mountain, what mountain it would have been. But he didn't. He could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered to subdue him, which is talking about Esau and these other kings, when they see him coming back, they're gonna stop fighting each other. They're gonna wait, hold on. We have a common enemy. Now we have to fight against Yahushua and the angels. It says, and after this I behold, and lo, they which were gathered together to subdue him, so they tried to fight him and win, were so afraid, yes, durst fight. So they were so scared, but they still fought. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, and he neither lifted up his hand, nor sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it has been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. So he's just seeing out of this chariot, you just seeing laser sparks of tempest, just blasting people to pieces and all types of stuff. And it's not talking about out of his mouth. He's not coming back as an airbender, as a firebender. He's not coming back as that. And it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up everyone, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. The only thing that was left of them was dust. So he's zapping these people to dust. You getting zapped, you beaming, your whole body turns to ashes. That's all that's happening. That's concentrated heat right there, man. So far beyond, we don't know what is inside of them, but it's extremely hot. Extremely hot. I don't think extremely even the word for how hot the fire that's coming out, because it's turning these people into dust. 1 second they're meat, bones, skin, flesh. Next moment they're dust, blown away in the wind. After I saw the same man come down from the mountain, I called unto him another peaceable multitude. I think that's it. That's all I wanted. So, yes, chariots are in the scriptures. Yes, that's the transportation method that the angels use, Yahushua use. Yes. And also, that's the same way that we're leaving. And it's the same way that he's coming back. As far as what they're made out of, we don't know. There's plenty of elements and plenty of things that's on this planet that the Most High has made that we don't know. So we don't know if they're made out of metal. We don't know what elements they're made out of. But we know for sure what they are. We know that they're chariots, and we know they're the so-called UFOs that the world calls them, but we know them as the chariots of salvation. So, to give you a couple examples, hopefully, the lesson was edifying about the UFOs being in the scriptures. There was many more accounts, but I just wanted to get a couple of the basics and touch on that a little bit. And yeah, like I said, the same way that you see him went up, the same way he's coming back. And it said in Revelation that when John saw, he said he coming with clouds. So that's that. And the clouds are not the white fluffy things, because it wouldn't make no sense why everybody be strange and amazed at the strangeness of their salvation, of our salvation, if it's just regular clouds that we see every day. It wouldn't make no sense. The scriptures all line up perfectly with each other, man. Hopefully the lesson was edifying. You got any questions, concerns, or anything? Scoffers that we blocked on site. You got any question or anything, comment down below. You got any more scriptures, comment them down below. Once again, I want to give